Good morning, everyone, or hello, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Usually because I do my videos quite early, and I'm usually up by 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The people that watch my content are usually Europe, Australia, New Zealand. And so if you're in Canada or the US, welcome. I do have a couple of notes, not many, like 3 notes. And I'm going to go on a few tangents during this video. It's Friday, the 16th of February, 2024. And I don't even know where to start. Like already this morning, I'm having debates, not debates, but I'm sharing information again with people that I know that are intelligent people, but that are saying that weather modification doesn't happen. And that frustrates me because I've been sharing proof even to this person now, to this person for a little while, but like I've been sharing proof of the weather modification stuff now for literally years, and our government admits it. The US government admits it on the record. And yeah, there's just so many different things I can show you. So even how long has Canada been doing weather modification? That's the search that I just did again this morning. I already have done this search countless times, to reiterate. So this is from the Canadian Encyclopedia, weather modification. In Canada, weather modification began in 1948 with a federal government experiment that used dry ice dispersed into clouds to simulate rainfall. We also do it for snowfall and stuff like that, and this is it was published in 2006 and then last edited in 2015. So 18 years ago, published. Come on, guys. And it's weather modification has been used in an attempt to increase rainfall and snowfall, to suppress hail, to clear fogs, to modify tropical cyclones, and to suppress lightning. Also to cause hurricanes, to cause earthquakes, to block the sun, etc., as well. Weather modification also does not refer to climate change caused by industrial and natural sources of aerosols and gases such as carbon dioxide. This is something that they're trying to get away with it, and that's why you have to say things like geoengineering, cloud seeding, also when you do your friggin' terminology, because of this. And so when you're talking about aluminum and silver dioxide and stuff like that in the air, heavy metals, absolutely confirmed being dispersed, and they are not good for us. These are neurotoxins, especially at high doses. And this has been since earlier than the 1900s, but I've shared weather patents and aerosol, like spray dispersal patents for aircraft and stuff like that. And from the US and Canada, but also largely from the US, just because like there's more people and more advanced capabilities usually come out of there. Canada has a good reputation for having academics come from here and do good work. It's just that, again, we are like a 10th or a 9th of the population of the US. By using rockets to fire thin metallic wires into growing clouds to trigger and channel premature lightning strokes. So like read this, like they're not doing this naturally, like they're alleging. They're just lying to us, and then people are just like, okay, I believe it. Okay, next topic. When did Canada start cloud seeding? Did you know cloud seeding was first used in Canada in 1956? I have literally people today that were fucking engineers, and again, it's like not to dismiss them or anything like that, smart people of service to Canada for decades, and telling me that cloud seeding is not real in Canada and weather modification. Like, this was a Google search. All I did was type in how long has Canada been doing weather modification. That's all I typed in, and these are all government sites, Law Justice Canada. Like, obviously Wikipedia is not a good source, but sometimes they have good content in it. It's yeah. Even CBC, this was like 4 years ago. We've been cloud seeding for decades. The Weather Modification Information Act in 1985. So anyone that's telling me that we haven't been doing, I don't understand. I don't understand. And people will fight me to the grave on this stuff too. This is the hill you want to stand on? Weather Modification Act, BC. Like now it's also like provincially. Who pays for cloud seeding in Alberta? We're funded by insurance companies in Alberta and they haven't been disappointed, said Terry Krause, the program director. So insurance companies, let's look at insurance companies. Like, come on, people. Like, it shouldn't just be me doing this fucking stuff, right? Like, where are the men and the women in CSIS, CBSA, CSEC, all federal fucking agencies, local law enforcement, federal fucking law enforcement? Like, where are you guys? Where are you? Crickets? Even CTV, like when it gets to that level, to me, there's no excuse why people at the highest levels of fucking government don't know what's going on with this stuff. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says the 2023 total of claims paid out to clients hasn't been calculated yet, but since 2018, insurance companies in Alberta have paid out more than $3.5 billion in severe weather insurance claims. Yeah. So Taggart Destruction Company shredded trees that were hundreds of years old on a heritage site, and I hope they get jail for that, but they won't because everyone just fucking like lets all this stuff happen. And our heritage minister at the time was Pablo Rodriguez, by the way, who was emailed repeatedly and doesn't fucking care, funded the censorship bills with our money, with our taxpayers' money. I don't know how that's not illegal either. And now he's moved into another fucking position, not an expert in anything. And these people are never held accountable for the crimes that they have committed. Because these are crimes and people are exploiting us. They're profiting and benefiting off of our misery. Okay, when they shredded the trees, windstorm, it's a fucking bowl where this heritage site was, okay? And not only my home, but hundreds of other homes just in that area where I lived. There was roof damage. There were windows blown off friggin' frames. Like even materials from the site, like hit homes and stuff like that. This is Taggart Destruction Company and their prostitutes that they pay for $15 an hour, that make fun of OnlyFans and prostitutes that are destroying our country from the inside out and building the 15-minute prisons. Like they're making fun of like leftists, and the irony in that as well, when at least some of these leftists or socialists or communists that they're making fun of, at least they stay home and do nothing but play video games and watch weird porn and do LARPing. They're not out just shredding trees on ancient sites that are hundreds of thousands of years old, you fucking losers. And all for foreign interference as well, like corporations and companies owned by people outside of Canada. I've shared this in previous videos. Buying up the land, buying up fucking cookie cutter homes, like pre-built for like a tenth of the price that like average Canadian citizens would be able to purchase at. More people are getting kicked out of their homes. More people are having a default on their mortgages because it's doubled in price in the last 1 to 2 years alone under Chrystia Freeland and Stephen Guilbeault. And these people that are talking about carbon and carbon dioxide and stuff like that. And they've shredded millions of trees in Ontario alone. Trees, what do you think trees do? They fucking help with carbon, you dummies. So there's a solution. Instead of talking about cow farts and electricity and fuel, like, why don't you fucking stop shredding the fucking trees? Okay. And what I mean is they're not even using them for fuel. So millions of trees in Ontario alone. This is happening all over Canada. In Quebec too, millions of acres. It's insane. It's insanity. And then they're giving us a carbon tax, and then they're like our fireplaces. They're making all these rules with insurance companies as well that are also in on this. And by the way, insurance companies are also owned third parties outside of Canada. So even RBC, like my insurance with my home and my vehicle insurance, it's run out of fucking Nevada. They don't know what the fuck is going on with Canada when there's winter storms and like it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. The level of ignorance in cabinet. And this is 338 people and the experts that they hire that are stealing from us. Like, look at the ArriveCan scam too. Like, you know, and even CSIS involved in this. So this is just something that I've said on, actually, maybe I'll show you my LinkedIn. I don't mean to be so negative in my videos. I would love to be more positive. There's just really not a whole lot of positive news in the mainstream media anymore, and it's because we have ridiculous people that are at the helm right now. Even Bill Blair and others like him, they're so woefully incompetent. And so I wrote this. I'll read it out. I'm just putting up. Oh, of course, the page not found. I'm going to go to the Wayback Machine. I'm putting a link into the Wayback Machine that seems to be already removed. It's not archived. Anyway, I'll try to find it in a second. CSIS, which is our Canadian Intelligence Agency, is clearly a threat to Canadians now and needs to fire and hire new leadership. They have failed us for years, and they have. And I've been sharing information and working with and around them for years as well. I've been proving them wrong daily for over 4 years now, and finally, international security industries are paying attention to my content and work and getting more viral, despite me being the most censored Canadian international security analyst. And I am. I'm the most censored security analyst there is here. I'm on Rumble at Don189. This is not a brag. It's profoundly disparaging to warn government agencies that I've worked in and around for 23 years to see how far Canada has fallen just in the past 10 years and how much better off we all would have been if the agencies we hired to serve and protect actually did. CSIS, mainstream media, cabinet members, experts they hire should be certified in hostile environment awareness training, also known as HEAT, or the Standing Rapid Deployment Team's SRDT training packages I've taught for years until the pandemic was declared and my contacts and community cast me aside as a conspiracy theorist, despite me sharing intel and data that was medical, governmental, and scientific. I'm hoping this year Canadian government officials will take training and info gathering more seriously because I gotta edit that, because they would have saved lives and avoided the harm and suffering Canadians were subjected to over your lies and lazy publicly funded work. And I just posted this and there's already 24 impressions. So I usually get like also, and LinkedIn fun fact as well. I'm on account number 3 because I've also been, my accounts have also been deleted on LinkedIn. And it's because what I share, it's a business thing. And so when the military industrial complex owns LinkedIn, basically, when you speak out against it and show the proof, they don't like that. And so I could show more on weather modification, but I've shared a lot in previous videos. And I want to get to a lot of different content here too. I'm going to be going all over the place. Actually, maybe I'll go into my Twitter just so you can see some stuff as well from there. So there was a mass shooting on the subway in New York City on Monday. 6 were shot, 1 was killed. Why didn't you hear about this? I wonder why you didn't. Maybe the skin color? Maybe the agenda, the narrative, the reason why? Kamala Harris. Oh my God, this girl needs to be fired too. She might be the first female president. Gun violence is the #1 cause of death for children of America, not some form of illness or car accidents. It does. And by the way, that's a lie. That's a huge lie. It doesn't have to be this way. I call on Congress and the state legislators to have the courage to act by passing common sense gun safety regulations. And so I wrote, forks are the #1 cause of obesity and diabetes in the U.S. We must ban forks immediately. Causation, correlation does not mean causation. And there are things to address, and it's not that's not even first on the list. That's not even second on the list, right? And so obesity, diabetes, there's so many different issues that children are experiencing right now because of lifestyle, and it's the parents' fault, right? And so largely the parents' fault. Obviously, educators too have profound influence on kids when they start going to school and stuff like that, but that would be easily mitigated if parents had more influence on the characters of their children before they even got to that. Anyway, it is what it is. But, oh, I didn't know I was like, my face covering most of the screen. Donald Best, he's been reporting a lot of good stuff on social media, especially with what's going on with Helen Bruce here in Ottawa. Because my business was destroyed, countless other people's businesses were destroyed during this and still are, still profoundly impacted in Ontario because of the mandates and lockdowns and all that other stuff. And the policy is still in place for people that are not vaccinated. And so we still have people, like school closures may not have been necessary to prevent spread of COVID-19. Researchers at McMaster finds they want you to believe their tyrannical destruction of small businesses, jobs, homes, education, churches, and families was a mistake made in good faith. The state is still imprisoning political opponents of government as the list of vax injured and dead grows. Seizing bank accounts, dragging pastors away in chains was no mistake. There must be justice and retribution. And people are saying that, it's already been 20 months. Let me just see. Yeah, Stephen Guilbeault is such a fucking idiot. He really is. This is from Lion Advocacy. So in theory, one totally wild aspect of this lawsuit, I'm getting to the lawsuit, is the potential for cross claims. Example, where one or more defendants sue each other because it was really those other defendants who were responsible. The idea of RBC, which is Canadian, which is Canada's Royal Bank of Canada, suing the RCMP, who in turn sues Freeland, is just epic. So now people are like, I predicted this for years. I'm like, you're all gonna be going, like, people are gonna be going after you guys, the ones that actually enforced and implemented these fucking mandates in the first place. You guys are gonna be the ones that are held responsible, and any of the fallback or blowback that comes from this, and people just fuck it, and so I hope they get jail. Freeland absolutely needs jail, and they're trying to say that there's this statute of So here. This is a good guy, by the way, or girl. I don't likely a guy. But he was saying, like, good thing there's no statute of limitations that will prevent you from throwing people in jail in 20 months. A little bit of sarcasm in that, because like we've been saying, so I said I've been sharing this data to all levels of government for over 4 years now, 48 months. So that's well within the 20 weeks. Oh, I meant to say 20 months, 20 months statutes of limitations. I have the sent emails, call logs, and social media platforms as proof. They need jail. This is Jeremy McKenzie. I reposted. Founded Diagolon, which is a meme, satirical parody fucking, whatever you want to call it, club. And huge, profoundly impacted by sharing truth. Hey, minister, not a single seat in the House cares about human life. They demonstrate this every day with unwavering support for war crimes, genocide, persecution of unvaccinated, trampling of charter rights, and a suicide plague so widespread that there's a government program. Needing expansion to accommodate the amount of lives they want to end. These losers are detached from reality and have done nothing but get fat and happy on the suffering of everyone beneath them. None of the 338 are worthy. He's totally right on that one. Every one of them should be in chains, starting with Mark Holland. I say starting with Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, Bill Blair. Look how tiny this guy is. Like, this is what I mean by like weak soy beta boys, like that are destroying our fucking country from the inside. Wayne Eyre is also included in that. And maybe he's on the right side. I don't even know. I get judgmental. I'm already defensive. Like, so like I need to like listen to this because I haven't even seen this yet. I don't know who's on the right side. Subject matter of Bill C-62, an act to amend the criminal code, medical assistance in dying. By the way, Canada's #1 in MAID, medical assisted murder. And I think there's a little bit more people speaking out on it, and doctors actually realizing that this is disgusting, and it definitely goes against their Hippocratic oath. Oh no, that's true. Okay, so this guy's an idiot. Oh my God. See, these are the guys I like that I have to listen to as well. Like when I'm trying to be on panels or committees or discuss the crimes against humanity that they're committing. He's a fucking idiot. No, you haven't. So Mark Holland, I hope he gets jail. That was very dramatic. And they say that women are emotional. Like that's the thing as well. Like men like this call women emotional. I hate to break it to you, but anger is also an emotion. Like I know that's mind blowing to some people, and so I know a lot of men that are way more emotional than women. Way more emotional than fucking women. Yeah, so reading this shit just really infuriates me, honestly. It's just so disgusting that it's been over 4 years now. And even more information now on the Arrive scam update. And this is Larry Brock. He's a member of parliament that's actually speaking out, so. But again, he's not effective enough, like, because nothing he's been sharing or saying has actually made any changes or differences yet. So clearly the 338 that I'm talking about, including him, unfortunately, are ineffective at their jobs. And they've been ineffective at their jobs for decades now. And I hate saying it, but next, fire them all. Clearly not working. Clearly not working. Okay, so. I'm just trying to close down other tabs and stuff like that. I'm not going to show too much of the video. Senate passes 95 billion Ukraine-Israel bill. Money laundering. Money should be invested within the U.S. and this is a Canadian saying that, and I say the same thing about Canada. With the money that we're investing into these proxy wars, these false flags, it's money laundering. It's and going to the friends and family of the people that are approving these fucking these wars and supporting these wars from Canada. So Melanie Joly and Chrystia Freeland also need jail. So I know I'm hitting on a lot of men, but there's a lot of women that are also aiding and abetting crimes against humanity. And there's even more info about the UN. Actually, no, I'm not going to share this one. I still got to watch this one first. And their involvement and their complicity in a lot of false flag crimes against humanity, including what went on in Israel and Palestine. And I will reiterate that with the UN, the Vatican, the Pope has a very important role. Microwave weapons have been used on protesters since at least the 1960s during this cycle of life.
Well, I joined the Royal Navy in 1960, and I specialised in microwave warfare. Radar, obviously, which uses microwave, but they don't just teach you radar, they teach you all about microwaves and other uses. So I understood about microwave warfare and how it can damage people, how it can harm people. Microwaves then were used as weapons, as they are today. It is a perfect stealth weapon. And when governments don't like a group of people, for instance, the ladies who protest at Greenham Common in England about the American missile base they camped, they were microwaved. We microwave Catholics in Northern Ireland to make them sick. It goes on all over the world. And it's a weapon that you don't know you're being targeted because the dose is very, very low, which is actually more dangerous than a high dose. It's very, very low.
Allegedly.
It may take a year or two, but you can cause neurological damage and cancers.
Our cities have been flooded with microwave weapons. They're everywhere. And government doesn't like you, especially if you're a conservative, a pureblood. You are going to be targeted by these weapons. Pay attention to these towers. They look like regular cell phone towers, but in fact, These are weapons platforms equipped with beamforming technology, and they can beam you through the wall. They can attack you while you sleep, and they're known to cause cancer, even if they're not targeting you. But now we know that these cell towers are targeted people, and they're even targeting people in places where you don't see cell towers, like this Tesla charging station. They've basically have weaponized infrastructure to such an extent that these weapons are everywhere, and the coverage
They even look
is
like trees.
basically everywhere. There's nowhere you can run or hide when this system is after you. And essentially, it's all automated by artificial intelligence. They have a program that basically runs through a list to target people. If you've ever been flagged on social media like Facebook or ScrewTube, then chances are you're on that red list and you will be processed. If you're currently feeling chronic fatigue, heart palpitations, recurring headaches, or pain not associated with an injury, especially the sudden onset of pain, chances are you're being targeted by these weapons right now. And everybody needs to know just how dangerous this technology is, because they've been microwaving people for decades, but now they can do it with smart technology. And they can basically pull your face out of a crowd, and they can basically link your profile to your
I know how
GPS
this sounds.
coordinates.
I've been sharing this information for years and talking about like the electromagnetic warfare that's going on and people being impacted. Havana syndrome, that comes to mind too as well. Like that I've also been sharing, and it is real. And even during January 6th and during the Freedom Convoy, like this is stuff that was enacted. And during a communication lockdown when the former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated, it's about a year and a half ago now. But within 12 hours of that, I was doing executive protection for Justin Trudeau and the head of the Toronto Raptors basketball team. And so there was communication lockdowns during that whole thing. And people were not able to use ATM machines or anything like that. Nothing was able to be processed and stuff like that. And I felt it. And I even said it actually to as a joke, just like, not as a joke, but I was being a little bit funny with it. But like the woman that is like the assistant that I was doing most of the coordination with and stuff like that. Like she's like, I wonder what this is. And I'm like, it's the government's doing it because of what happened with the former Prime Minister of Japan. And and this is an important event. And so of course they're using electromagnetic capabilities to jam and block people in downtown Ottawa the time that Justin Trudeau and like a friggin' millionaire or billionaire are supposed to be speaking in a garden, like in public.
That's thanks to your phone and other technologies.
And she actually told me that she even called Justin Trudeau out on it. So I was like laughing. She came back to me after and she's like, I asked him about it. She's like, are you guys jamming anything because of like what happened? And he denied it, but she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well.
And so the process has become so much easier today to target people than ever before. And they're not going to deny themselves the opportunity to take you out, to basically redraw the maps, to purify the demographics, to sanitize society. They're not going to miss that opportunity with this technology while people are unaware that it's going on. That's why we need to continue to raise awareness on the dangers of 5G and directed energy weapons. And of course, people need to protect themselves from these weapons. And these weapons can be in infrastructure, but they can be deployed like
kilometers away
with equipment like this. Little ones can be posted outside of your residence in case you're out there in the woods or something like that. And they can fly planes over your location and get you that way as well. And so people need to start protecting themselves. We've been targeted by these weapons for many years now. We've been talking about it, and we've had the opportunity to basically test out shielding strategies like nobody else can, quite frankly. And we've put that all together in a quick and easy guide that we call the Transhuman Genocide, the Enemy at the Gate, the Ultimate Guide to EMF Shielding, Directed Energy Weapons, and Artificial Intelligence. We've made this guide super inexpensive so that people can protect themselves. Normally, a book like this on Amazon sells for about $1,000. And we're basically selling it for $8 so that people can basically protect themselves and so that we can raise awareness on this issue. If you're not protecting yourself in the modern world, then basically you're running around naked, exposed to every weapon that's out there. And it's only a matter of time before they make you pay for it. And of course, these weapons, they've been around for quite some time, but now it's to such an extent that they can basically pick you off from miles away from a cell tower with surgical precision. I'm not sure what the video guy is doing, but yes, it's the new climate change, ladies and gentlemen, and people have been attacked by these weapons. Oh, the little guy is just on vacation. This is beyond disturbing footage. But we have all sorts of whistleblowers telling us that this is happening at the NSA level, at the Five Eyes level. And so there's really nowhere to run. And these people are basically out of their minds. They're like, we want to make you sick. We're coming after you with all of these different types of weapons and so on.
And it's because like a lot of these people, like, I mean, there used to be people that had rich culture, wisdom, intelligence, good morals, good values, all of that stuff. But there's been a de-evolution in these families, in these groups of people that have inherited wealth and stuff like that. And they've been brainwashed into believing that they have like, I have magic blood. My mommy says I have magic blood and I'm better than everyone else because I have that's so far from reality. But these people actually believe that they are different than us because of somehow because of like them having magic blood. I hate to break it to you, but you're not better or worse than anyone. We're all fucking light in motion. We can all evolve or de-evolve within our own fucking lives with this avatar, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, through our own actions and our own works. Not through inherited wealth, not through entitlement. Like that's privilege. And Roseanne Barr was talking about that, and it was brilliant with what she was saying. And I don't want to like misinterpret what she was saying, but essentially that the social justice warriors and this victim mentality that people are experiencing, it's just, that is the epitome of privilege. When you can identify as a fucking cat and or stay on your ass in your teenage years, 20s and 30s and do absolutely nothing for society or your community, and in fact take as a man or a woman at, like in those age groups, that is the epitome of privilege and entitlement. When you just don't care about anyone else, and then in fact you also play a victim somehow. How entitled are you to be in a first world country with what, like, and just like with all of these movements that are going on, the division, and everyone wants reparations for things that happened, hundreds of years ago, and it happened to like everyone, and not just a certain group, but they want to fucking claim it just happened to them. Even with slavery, my family comes from slavery too, ladies and gentlemen, and so do a lot of fucking people, like of all different backgrounds, including sex slavery and stuff like that as well. It is a reality. It's a hard reality. It's stuff that myself and countless others have been speaking out against to avoid it for the future, even though it's like the biggest industry we have right now internationally. It's disgusting. Drug and human trafficking for various different reasons. There are these people that think they have magic blood, these fucking entitled social justice warriors that are communists. I'm talking about the Klaus Schwabs, the Soros, the Gates. These are all entitled, privileged, social justice warrior, communist, evil schmucks. People are calling them like little hats or whatever. They're not. And so half these people are Baptist, Catholics, just to be clear, or they identify as that, especially like the Rockefellers or Rothschilds or whatever. And yes, they married into, like there are people that they married into that are Jewish. And there's also other religions that they also married into as well. And so like everyone that's saying that this is all just like little hats is also a little fucking racist and discriminating, right? And it's also part of the fucking narrative that these people that are writing the scripts and the psyops and the narratives and the propaganda, they all want you to believe. The same thing with people wanting to believe that Jesus Christ was a physical being, a physical material life in a book that is absolutely esoteric and being mistranslated and misinterpreted. I'm talking about the King James Bible, the Quran, like all of them, all the friggin' like the Hebrew texts. These are all being mistranslated, misinterpreted. It is all based on astrotheosophy, this divine clock with the luminaries above us that that makes this cosmos operator run, electromagnetic in nature, light in motion, all of us experiencing this density together. And there's a creator, at least one creator, possibly create like multiple. I'd be ignorant to think that there was only one. And that created this divine consciousness, higher level beings, higher level consciousness, you know, not evil, like not what we're calling evil or even with demons, what people are misinterpreting as demons being like these actual physical beings or entities, or like these energetic, you know, so like things that like possess our souls or possess us. This is also an excuse for people to do shitty things. It's an act. People can fucking pretend that they're possessed. They can pretend that they're fucking demons, or they can pretend that they're fucking saints. It's all a fuck, like it's easy, right? And like people are saying, oh, Taylor Swift was possessed at, you know, the Super Bowl because like she went like, and then she looked different. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's proof that she's like, what are you talking? Anyone can fucking do that. I can pretend. My dogs can pretend. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's your, and so like, so demons are like are the temptations that we're supposed to resist in our lives, right? That follow us around, that are there in our faces, that are in our fucking mind, right? Like for me, like I struggled with alcohol, like as a coping mechanism, because I've gone through a lot of fucking stuff in my life. And I know a lot about the fucking reality of the world, the harsh reality that a lot of people just want to ignore. And so, you know, it's something that just numbed me out, because I would cry a lot. I'd have panic attacks, things that I couldn't control. Like I would be very overwhelmed sometimes. Like, you know, I am a woman, you know, like that we're more caring and empathetic in nature, and and these things do, I think, impact us more than men. And so it's hard. And you know, and so it's a struggle every day not to like go out and buy like a bottle of fucking whiskey or like a bottle of wine. I don't know, you know, and just and do that. And I don't even know where I was going with that. But resisting temptations. And so like even with people that are worshiping Jesus Christ as a physical being, like that already makes it where we're fallible, because we're never going to meet a mythological representation of the sun. We're never going to meet like what that representation is, because it's we're not supposed to, if that makes any sense, especially if we're interpreting it in a very physical way and not even including the other aspects, the esoteric, the alchemical, the emotional, spiritual. And because of that division that was intentionally done by people that wanted to cause the division and create wars and stuff like that, because there's money in it, we've been at this game now for fucking hundreds, if not thousands of years, right? Like with discussing the luminaries, like Venus being Lucifer, or Hemera, or Dawn, or Eos, or Phosphorus, you know, countless others. And Athena is like Mars, Aries, Mars itself, like another god. These are all representations of Mars, the luminary Mars, what we're calling Mars. And even with Satan, I'll reiterate, it's a combination of Capricorn and Aquarius, and for the zodiac sign. So Satan is literally is a celebration or following the zodiac, and a very specific portion of the zodiac. So Capricorn, Aquarius, right? So like from the 22nd of December until, you know, mid-February, essentially, for like when Aquarius ends. And Capricorn being represented by a goat, Aquarius by a human. The Satan is represented by half goat, half human, with the horns and stuff like that, and with the color red associated with Saturn, or Kronos, whatever you want to call him. And again, this is like Saturn is a luminary that is containing this multidimensional reality via toroidal fields. It's the outer toroidal field, I believe. And then the sun and moon and other luminaries also heavily influence the fields that are containing us in this environment and allowing us to experience it on this flat plane of inertia.
So forth. They're very serious about these weapons programs, and they're very serious about killing people that stand in their way. And that's why everybody basically has to protect themselves, especially if you plan on fighting this new world order in the future. And so we strongly recommend that you educate yourself when it comes to what these energy weapons are and how to protect yourselves. And basically, you know, it is a lot of research, and it does take a lot of time to figure out exactly what you need against military grade weapons. And so our strong recommendation again is that
so Chile also was hit by lasers, possibly. And they're also painting their roofs blue now in the last couple of days. I've been seeing like Chilean people like, so they're doing the research. They're seeing this
book so that all of that information is there for you, and you can go directly to shopping for what you need instead of spending months and months trying to figure out what will work, testing it out, only to find out that it doesn't work. But these weapons are like nothing else, to say the least, and we've been dealing with it for quite some time. What else do we have in the news? The farmer rebellion continues to grow out there in Germany. The numbers are still strong 7 days into the protest, as people are fed up with what's going on with the hyperinflation. Government wants to starve you. They want you to eat bugs. They want to take everything away from you. And so it's not just that they're trying to kill you with energy weapons. They want to starve you to death. And unless people basically wake up to what's going on, it's only going to get worse. Yesterday, there was a massive protest at the White House. Had they brought the guillotines, it could have ended the hyperinflation and the nationalized pedophilia all in one strike. But unfortunately, it just didn't get as far as all of that. They did breach the gate, however. Another friendly reminder that mind over matter works. The body can heal itself through the power of the mind, demonstrated over and over again by the placebo effect. Be sure to check out the latest videos on our timeline, because there's so much there waiting for you, to say the least. If you haven't subscribed to our Telegram feed, it's at STFN Report on Telegram. Be sure to get the app from Telegram, because we've actually been banned by the app stores, and so you won't be able to see that page if you're on iOS in most countries, and the Google App Store as well. You'll have to get the Telegram app for Android on the telegram.org website, or use the desktop version if all else fails. There's also the web page that you can use to see our feed uncensored. This is the new meat. It's going to be nice and affordable for you, courtesy of Bill Gates, since regular meat has become basically Soylent Green prices just in time, because people have been fattened up for the slaughter, feminized and fattened up so that they can't defend themselves. And this is only the beginning of the nightmare. We see a lot of people talking about tunnels, and while it does seem interesting as far as what's happened in New York, these are the tunnels they don't really want you talking about. And chances are whatever did happen in New York was a distraction. They don't want you talking about what really matters. These people on television, they want to kill you. They want you to eat bugs. They want to genocide the whole planet. It was on the Georgia Guidestones, and basically they've destroyed the evidence.
Yep.
But the plan remains. They want to kill
spoke
you,
about the Georgia Guidestones,
ladies and gentlemen,
for friggin' years.
And it's not a joke. Be sure to follow the silence and not the science, according to reports. In any case, I just want to mention.
I posted this, but Udo editor of leading European editor of leading European newspaper, died shortly after this confession. I've been a journalist for 25 years. I was taught to lie, betray, and never tell the truth to the public. I was paid by the CIA, secret societies, and American billionaires. Journalists are used to manipulate the people. And so take a look at that guy, Udo Ulfkott. Died shortly after this confession, but like I even said, like not a hero for finally telling the truth. He was a prostitute for 25 years, directly aiding the suffering and deaths of innocents. And so, like after 25 years, you finally tell the truth. And yes, it's great that he did, but it's like for like 25 years.
Mention again, if you
like, why didn't you just quit, bro?
haven't gotten our guide to survive energy weapons and the transhuman genocide, be sure to get that.
Nazis justified
right now it's
it too. The people that like drove people to their deaths knowing that they were going to their deaths, the people that put the fucking chemicals in the gas chambers, the people that built them to begin with, like the people in Poland that were blaming on German people. You're Polish. You guys are doing this, Ukrainians and stuff like that as well. You know, and Justin Trudeau, just to be clear, he is the one that invited him to the fucking parliament and had Rhoda, like, you know, take the fall for it. And then had a pregnant lady like talk about it in cabinet the next day. But he also invited him to dinner and Chrystia Freeland as well. And so like these people don't know history. And these people that are backing certain groups because like I come from there, my family comes from Ukraine, and so like I'm hurting. Like again, these are all people that have like fake. There's all fake victims, fake social justice warriors that like have had no trauma in their lives at all or suffering at all. And they're backing behind like and they have shares and stocks in the companies that are operating in these areas, and it's fucking disgusting to me. And so jail.
On our Patreon page
jail
at patreon.com/STF News. It'll soon be available on other outlets, major websites, and in paperback form, but that's still a couple weeks away, so you're going to have to be patient for all of that. But for the meantime, you can certainly get the digital copy on our Patreon for only $8, and that'll be slightly less expensive than on the major websites and the paperback copy. So you can get that today if you haven't already. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.
Neat. Okay, so I'm going to shut that one down. And I'm going to go through like a few other interesting videos. I was going to show you. I want to share. I was going to share Alex Jones, but Stanton Cree 420 says everyone must see this before it is deleted again. So, fun fact that even Rumble does censor accounts and channels and videos and does remove them as well. And so, let's watch this to see what it's about. With volume on.
Do not forget. Expect us.
Project Chinology was so insane that it sparked a brutal war between some of the most powerful entities known to mankind.
I don't know what
this
this
is
is
the way
about.
for Anonymous to become one of the main voices of the internet.
We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive.
Oh yeah, Anonymous.
Do not forget. Expect
Not
us.
at all. I've heard.
And it uncovered some of the deepest and darkest secrets of the Church of Scientology. Both organizations did their finest to defeat the other, but only one group in the end could come out and actually say they were victorious. Strap in, because this story will take us on a wild ride that will rewind time back to 2008, when things were simpler and Project Chinology was on the horizon of being something great.
9/11 was also predicted in Back to the Future. Fun fact: there's multiple different
The Church of Scientology
clocks
would be
and
enigmatic
radio
for many years, stealthily staying quiet
stations
outside the spotlight of the general public.
showing 9/11.
Although Scientology would soon become a common household name when various top-tier celebrities and high-profile individuals began to get intertwined in the group. Tom Cruise, a well-known A-list celebrity, got deeply involved within the Scientology community. What made it interesting, though, is his need to share his love for Scientology and religious awakening with the world. Tom Cruise became Scientology's biggest advocate Although people began to question his sanity when he would have these bizarre appearances, he quickly made headlines across the globe during his appearance on The Oprah Show, embarrassing himself in one of the most unique ways possible.
First of all, thanks for coming to my Legends Ball with Katie. Was that the best fun? Was that? Yes, yes. What has happened to you? I've never seen you behave this way before. I know. Have you ever felt this way before? You do that?
Oh my
You're gonna
God.
do that? That's why you're here?
And like also not this is gonna be divisive yet again, but even with Oprah Winfrey, she's like allegedly on lists and heavily involved with human trafficking, drug cartel operations and stuff like that internationally, and even friends of people that are in jail because of being like human traffickers and stuff like that from other countries I'm talking about as well. Billionaire has been on TV for literally decades and stuff like that, and she's trying to get reparations from me, who I have to shut my furnace off half the time, even though it's freezing in Canada, because I can barely afford to heat my fucking house now because my mortgage doubled, my house insurance fucking quadrupled, because I'm beyond 8 kilometers away from a fucking fire station, even though I like, and there's even more. Like I just can't. And she has caused so much destruction internationally. If you want to tally like harm and suffering to humanity, Oprah Winfrey in the U.S., like her fucking list of the suffering and harm that she's caused to humanity, just to be clear, and trafficking even celebrities and stuff like that within the U.S. Like it's fucking like this woman is disgusting. And even Isaac Cappy was talking about her before he fucking died. And she supports Biden. She's been a leftist voter. You know, like every fucking like woman that I know votes. Definitely, they did not vote for Justin Trudeau.
You're here? What was the question again? We're talking about War of the Worlds. I'm a hugger, you know what I mean? I know. Yes, yes. Yeah, and when you've been hugged by Tom, you've been hugged.
Even though he quickly became the laughingstock of the internet, it only seemed to make him more sporadic and unreasonable. Tom Cruise thought of himself as awakened through what he learned in his experiences with Scientology. He even explained this in another irregular interview.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Scientologist, and it's something that you have to earn. And because a Scientologist does. When I read it, I just went, this is it.
Just like when people think they're superior than people because of being part of a cult or religion,
I looked at them, and I thought, I would have
organization.
Maybe one day it'll be like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day it will be that. Wow, SPs, like they'll just read about those in the history books, it's rough and tumble, and it's wild and woolly, and it's a blast. It's a blast. It really is fun.
Even though Tom Cruise helped bring Scientology to the mainstream media, its teachings were still unknown to the average person. There was one more final push that really got people to understand what Scientology was all about. South Park released an episode called Trapped in the Closet, which was essentially dedicated to making fun of Tom Cruise and the Church of Scientology. Although this gave the public exposure to the unusual ideology that Scientology was fundamentally built on. The producers of South Park thought the beliefs were so insane that they even had to put labels on some parts of the episode which read, "This is what Scientologists actually believe." The episode wound up being a massive success. Even compared to other South Park episodes, which are all also wildly successful, this one in particular is ranked in the top 10 South Park episodes of all time. Soon, people from all walks of life now knew what Scientology was all about, and a vast majority thought it was absolutely ridiculous. This episode was the birthplace of all types of memes, which would make Scientology even more of a mockery than it already was. People on the internet were even creating websites that made fun of Scientology and its beliefs. One of the main actors on the show, Isaac Hayes, would condemn South Park for making fun of his religion, which was Scientology. This controversial clash would catch the attention of news agencies, making this specific episode blow up even more than it already did. Like most fads on the internet, it was just a matter of time until the Scientology memes and disdain were to fade away back into obscurity. Although, this is where the Church of Scientology made a fatal mistake, one which would cement itself as one of the biggest missteps in internet history. They decided to do the unthinkable and fight back against the internet's fun. They claimed that some of the photos used in sites and forum posts infringed on their copyrighted material and demanded that it be taken down. They even got some of the Tom Cruise videos taken down from YouTube, claiming that they were both pirated and edited. Scientology then threatened legal action against anyone who defies them. This would only anger the internet, deepening the animosity towards the Church of Scientology. Websites and forum posts were still taken down, some out of fear of litigation and others by force. Although the internet was working overtime, and the speed of new content would be too fast for the Church of Scientology to handle. Soon, a change in atmosphere around the subject of Scientology would occur, as one specific website would come to fruition. This website was called The Unfunny Truth About Scientology, and instead of memeing or making fun of the religion, it goes over some of the more serious controversies. The website is essentially a video slideshow of some of the church's misbehaviors, along with some of their extreme beliefs. One belief in particular is that anyone who isn't part of the church should be injured without repercussions. The website details some of the gruesome deaths people have had after getting involved in Scientology, and all of the deaths seem to be pointing towards Scientology's wrongdoings. Lisa McPherson was a huge donor to the Church of Scientology and an active member. She was later brought to a hospital by the Church of Scientology after staying on their grounds for some time. They made sure to take a long detour to find a hospital with a Scientologist doctor. When she finally got there, she was pronounced dead with cockroach bites all over her body. She was also underweight, extremely dehydrated, and with multiple bruises. Josephus Havneth was another unfortunate member of the Church of Scientology. After being prescribed unknown medications and checking into a hotel to visit one of the main churches, there seemed to be flooding coming from his room. He was later found dead in the bath after multiple days with burns all over his body. The water was supposedly so hot that it burnt right through his clothes. There was but one note outside his room that solemnly said, "Sleeping." The website also details one of the grim ways Scientologists usually fund their organization. They would extract all or most of the money from their victims, selling them packages to, quote, help them. The victim would either fall into their own demise, or the Church of Scientology would do its best to make sure there was no one left after their money was fully extracted, whether that be they die or get absorbed into the organization. This website illustrated that the Church of Scientology was pure evil, and that they would be getting away with both murder and the destruction of people's lives. But how did they do this, especially without getting caught? They would use scare tactics, and most importantly, leagues of highly qualified legal teams. Essentially, they saw themselves as untouchable, well, so they thought. It was finally time to show the world the monstrous things that Scientology has done. And as the date approached, users throughout the internet spread the news. Soon, many internet enjoyers from various communities would temporarily join the ranks to help in efforts to fight Scientology. The Church of Scientology would take these threats extremely seriously. They released a multitude of statements regarding the video and the planned protests alike. This weekend, we do anticipate that some members of the group, Anonymous, will turn up, as they have announced. We take this seriously because of the nature of the threats that this group has made publicly. We will take every step necessary to protect our parishioners and staff, as well as members of the community, in coordination with the local authorities. As to our knowledge of the organizers of the event, they are cyber terrorists who hide their identities behind masks and computer anonymity. Anonymous alleged free speech justification is believed by the fact that the video in question has been seen by millions. It is Anonymous that has repeatedly attempted to suppress free speech through illegal of the church websites, as to prevent internet users from obtaining information from the church. They have also engaged in other harassment, including threats of telephone calls, fax transmissions, and emails, and not to mention the anonymous.
Also, fun fact that these religions are also backed, owned, and funded by communists, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation people, the like We Scandal people, Schwab, Soros, people like that, UN, and the CCP. Okay, a lot of like a lot of the American institutions are and UN and all these other fucking agencies are owned by the CCP, and they want to make it seem like the way China's being run and operated is the best model. And what they mean by that is they're controlling their citizens the best. The way their models are, their policies and all that other stuff that they have in place is not good, not at all. There's a lot of crimes against humanity being committed 24/7 within China. No one wants to talk about that. We need to talk about that, and the fact that there's military bases and law enforcement bases, etc., and that they own our major mines and resources within Canada, like included. We need to take a look at this stuff. We need to stop allowing the people that are leftists within government, 338 people to look at, and their affiliations with the CCP. You need to look at it, and you need to look at Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland. Justin Trudeau on the record, like speaking, and again, it's like he's very influenced by them, and so is the WEF, the World Economic Forum, included. Does not have our best interest at heart, not remotely. We are the carbon. We like the Rockefeller. I don't know if I already shared that, but like he had like literally on the record had said that he would want to come back if he was reincarnated as a deadly virus to contribute to population control. They're lying about the population being of us being overpopulated. They're lying about the numbers of people on Earth. They're not telling people that we've been way more advanced and evolved with larger populations in history, throughout history. Especially the people that built like the large like infrastructure that we still see from like all over the world if you've traveled. And
anonymous mailing of white powder to dozens of our churches, requiring the services of law enforcement. Religious bigotry of any nature is deplorable and profoundly affects the entire community. The hate crimes of Anonymous should be condemned. The Church of Scientology did its utmost to label the internet goers and friends Anonymous as cyber. They wanted to get ahead of the curve in case the protests actually occurred.
So yeah, so even with Christians or people that full out like worship Satan or the devil worshippers, Satan worshippers, you're worshiping a luminary in the sky above within the firmament, and because of your own twisted interpretations of reality and how you want to experience your life and how you are experiencing your life, you're blaming that on something beyond yourself. Possessions, demons, evil spirits, the devil, all of this stuff. Oh, like this is it's the devil's fault. No. I'm sorry to break it to people, but it's within ourselves. It's hard. Life is fucking hard for a lot of people. And it's up to us to save ourselves. It's up to us to redeem ourselves. It's up to us to practice what we preach and all this stuff and become more learned, become more educated. Don't take things literally. When you idolize Jesus Christ and believe that he actually existed, you are completely eliminating the metaphysical, spiritual, emotional, astrotheosophical interpretation that he signifies, represents. A character that is provided to us to give us an easier interpretation of very advanced sciences and spiritual teachings and esoteric teachings and stuff like that. And so for people that believe that they're superior to others or more entitled than others because of a religion that they're following, and a religion that again like misinterprets the luminaries as being actual beings, whether they be beings that are from this earth or not, you're still believing in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. I'm sorry. And people are like, oh, like how would everyone would have to be on it? Everyone's in on Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy too. Again, and just to be clear, it's not everyone. That's an exaggeration. The majority are, but there are a lot of people that right from the get-go, they're teaching their children the truth, and they're showing them and teaching them what Santa Claus represents, what these other mythical like figures represent, and they're still having good, beautiful lives. In fact, less deceit and ignorance and anger and confusion in their lives because they were getting the truth.
Especially if it would eventually reach mainstream media. They wanted to frame themselves as the victims to sway public opinion in their favor. Along with this, the organization also wanted to deter people from actually coming to the event in hopes the protest would be just another internet flop. Although, unbeknownst to them at the time, it was already too late for the Church of Scientology. Their efforts would prove to be unfruitful.
Scientology is much more dangerous. News 10's Dan Klein reports some spent the day in protest.
Yeah, so what we do and think in our lives is our karma. It is our manifest destiny, the spells we create, the prayers, the manifestations.
This is not about the personal beliefs and ideas of Scientology and the people who practice it. This is about the ethics that the management and the people in charge of Scientology practice. This is for Lisa McPherson and everyone else who's died at the hands of Scientology.
We are anonymous, and we're protesting the illegal actions of Scientology Church. We have no problem with their beliefs in and of themselves, but we don't want to support their illegal activities any further.
The event was a massive success. Around 7,000 internet users from around the world in 100 different cities gathered near Scientology buildings to protest and to shine some light upon some of their wrongdoings. Most of them wore Guy Fawkes masks to show their allegiance to the Anonymous group. Even after the initial protests, there would be plans to continue for the next few months. These other protests would also be successful, with a planned protest happening a couple times a month. The Church of Scientology did its best to fight back. They hired private investigators to dox some of the protesters, and they attempted to sue various individuals that were identified. They would also lure protesters onto the Scientology property to get them in trouble with the law for trespassing. They even slashed tires, destroyed
January 6th,
property,
just like the
threw
Freedom
eggs at
Convoy.
protesters, and Scientologists even went as far as supposedly killing protesters' pets. Although, luckily, many of the Scientologists' attempts to get protesters in trouble with the law would prove to fall short.
Boom. Okay, that was very interesting. And it's not good to like isolate or target one group when it's like individuals within any group. It's how they interpret what they're reading and being taught and what they're thinking, and it's what they do, like the actions, right? So like the message of like thou shalt not cheat, steal, commit, like all of that stuff. Like these are all lessons to be adhered to. That's coming from people with experience. And that's hard to people, right? And they want to blame other people for the reason why they're still drinking or doing drugs or cheating on their wives or cheating on their husbands or beating their kids or abusing their animals or, you know, like committing 7 deadly sins on a regular basis with like the pride and the lust and the greed and the sloth and like all of that's the wrath and not doing things within your own fucking life because we're making excuses. I didn't want to go for a walk with the dogs yesterday. Like I was very overwhelmingly depressed. I'm not gonna lie, I've been trying to share information to avoid the harm and death of Canadians and people internationally now for years because I know people personally who have died on behalf of Canada, and it's not correct that these fucking morons in cabinet are still lying to us because they're exploiting. You know, anyway, they're using the military, pharmaceutical, industrial complex in order to get money off of us, and it's disgusting. And secrets of Russia's space-based nuclear lasers revealed. You know what my feelings are on space. I don't believe that we're going beyond the what they're calling the radiation belt, the Van Allen belt, or the toroidal fields that contain this environment. I don't think we're going beyond that. Never have, never will. And so I don't think that there's anything like space like beyond that. So it would just be like within the atmosphere, within this environment that we're occupying. And lasers, I've talked about lasers and direct energy weapon systems and EMPs for years. This is probably like the first things I started talking about was the weather modification and lasers and stuff like that, and to watch out and look into this stuff. But even with nukes, I don't necessarily believe I like that the nukes are what we're being led to believe. And even with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there's a lot of historical accounts of this possibly being like a lot like just a heavy volume of TNT, like high level explosives that were used in multiple different areas within Japan and surrounding areas, and then blamed on atomic bombs. And people that are saying that we ended the wars or America ended the war because of dropping these bombs, that is also a lie. And I've got books on this too, and historical accounts and archive data from good sources, not CTV or fucking CNN or Fox. No offense. And that also state that it was Russia that warned Japan that they would get involved, against them if they didn't stop what they were doing. And so it was within hours of that immediately that they had whatever you want to call it, ceased fire, like they gave up. And so that was days after like the last bomb. And so there was no urgency until Russia got involved with that aspect of the war. And so that's not saying anything good or bad against Russia at all with what's going on presently. I'm just giving you factual data from many decades ago that people need to look at. And also the false flag events that also started World War I and World War II would also be interesting. And Japan's involvement in Pearl Harbor, but then also other events that actually led to the deaths of Americans with multiple other balloons with explosions on them that they were dropping.
Are the globalists preparing a nuclear-triggered EMP false flag to be blamed on Russia?
So if you want me to replace Bill Blair as the Minister of National Defense in Canada, call his office, tag him on social media and me, and like let this fucking happen, because like that guy get paid. He gets paid a lot of fucking money to sit on his ass and do not lie to us.
You bet your ass they are.
Here, an artist's projection of the president's vision.
Banning into space, a layered defense to protect the country from nuclear devastation. U.S. spy satellites would watch the world below, detect Soviet missiles blasting off, compute the position and speed of each missile, alert battle stations in space, on Earth.
Is Russia developing nuclear-powered lasers? Are they deploying them in space? And the answer is undoubtedly yes.
No,
but guess who was doing this even back in the 1970s and had perfected it by the.
See, this is where me and Alex, like people like love Alex. I'm saying that he has good information, and people like to brag about his informants. Bro, I am an informant. So like he gets his shit from people like me. Like, hi, 23 years in the business now, and so like yeah, there's like nukes in space, bro. No.
The 1980s and 90s, the United States. And as usual, everybody's running around, even mainstream media, governments, acting like they don't know what's going on to scare the public, when there's a very clear history of exactly what's going on with the United States, Russia, China, and other governments. So I'm about to break down what's really happening in space straight ahead.
I'm watching this.
The first response. Space-based kinetic energy weapons fire high-speed projectiles from hypervelocity guns, intercepting enemy missiles as they are boosted through the atmosphere. Popped up into space, Earth-based nuclear-powered X-ray lasers fire their radioactive rays. Land-based excimer lasers are redirected by huge mirrors orbiting in space. Chemical lasers fire beams that burn through the shell of the onrushing missile. Particle beam weapons with pulsing rays join the attack. Still over the atmosphere, the missile bus ejects its cargo, multiple nuclear warheads.
This must be an old video.
Ronald Reagan popularized Star Wars, or the Strategic Defense Initiative, in the 1980s, but it was really going on since the 1960s. And by the 1970s, it's declassified. The United States had powerful lasers mounted in space. Some of them, what are called X-ray lasers, that are powered by a nuclear power plant.
Earth-based nuclear-powered X-ray lasers fire their radioactive rays.
In many cases, they would actually detonate a small atomic or hydrogen bomb that then fires through the X-ray laser arrays and just fries everything in a massive radius around it. This would also cause major electromagnetic disturbances in the atmosphere. That's why the Pentagon back in the 1960s did Operation Fishbowl, where they tried to detonate the upper atmosphere with high-powered hydrogen bombs just to test and see if it was safe. So now that we hear all this talk about Russia might be developing and deploying nuclear-powered lasers in space, all of this is Excalibur type technology being deployed by the Russians decades and decades and decades later. Look up Project Excalibur for yourself, already in function, already in operation in the 1970s.
That's what I mean. Like everyone loves, and in Canada, like our satellite, what we're calling the satellite, again, that stays within low Earth orbit within the fucking dome is Sapphire. There's only one within Canada. Take a look at Sapphire. It's involved
Fully deployed by the
international
1980s.
organizations.
One reason the Russians gave up and the Soviet Union collapsed because they understood the United States was so much farther advanced than them.
So Alex, we need to fucking talk. When are you gonna get me on your show? You've had Andreas Zerdas, like you've had these fucking people on your show that I've also done interviews with and I've talked with for years. Get me on your fucking show already. I'm waiting.
So why is this all coming out now? Why is the Pentagon and the White House all mysteriously, oh, we're not going to say if they have a weapon or what it is, but it's probably nukes in space and nukes that power lasers. It's because they're ratcheting up a new cold and probably hot war with Russia.
Yeah.
The EU.
Operation Dominic, yeah, that's also around the same Operation Fishbowl time, and also proves this is a fucking contained environment, flat Earth.
The NATO leaders are saying it's going to be a 20, 30-year long-term war. They're going to bring back national conscription in Europe and the UK. They're setting their entire political future while they make us eat bugs and own nothing and have nothing and be happy on using the outside threat of Russia as the pretext for domestic crackdowns and control here at home. So I've been watching this Russian space laser hysteria for days and just sitting back and wondering.
So lasers, so it's not just from ships, but there are lasers that are most definitely also like from the sky, aircrafts that are used, ones that are remote controlled and other, and then human guided, and observation posts are also used, and lighthouses. So fun fact about lighthouses, even in the past were used as weapons, and there would be different slides or different like luminescent bulbs or whatever you want to call it that would be put in place, whether it be to acknowledge enemy or friendly with the signals and stuff like that as well that were used. And then lighthouses also prove the Earth is fucking flat with how far you can see them from.
Why people don't understand the real history of it and that it's all hidden in plain view. People ask me all the time, how do you know this stuff? And you talk about it years before and then it comes true. It was already true. It was already public information, just not popularly promoted. You see, that's what corporate media does. You talk about world government and a UN plan for a carbon tax 25 years ago, they'd say you're a conspiracy theorist in the New York Times, knowing most people wouldn't go to the UN website and look up the plan for carbon taxes or the UN plan to promote pedophilia 30 years ago that the UN has now officially put into their policy just last year. 98% of what I cover is public information, but the general public still doesn't even know that for 30 plus years, the United States has had a fleet of DC-10s and other large jets in the sky. You have a laser firing system, energy system that runs the length of the aircraft and that can shoot down aircraft and missiles all day long. So a lot of this is in the atmosphere itself at 30,000, 40,000, 20,000 feet. But when you go up to space, there's no water vapor or condensation in the air. So lasers can shoot hundreds of thousands of miles at light speed, not just 50, 60, 70 miles, because depending on where you are in the atmosphere and how much humidity there is, lasers aren't effective out at a distance because, again, they have to fire.
Fun fact in that as well, though, Alex Jones. So this is why we need to talk as well. But there's also rays or beams or waves, whatever you want to call it, that are also emitted before the actual real lasers are implemented, that actually like makes it where there's less resistance or friction within the atmosphere, so that they can be more powerful and go longer distances. Terrifying.
Through the atmosphere. So the United States has huge weapons platforms in space. They have nuclear-powered X-ray lasers that can launch from the ground. That is missiles that go up and then detonate X-ray lasers. Basically, it's an X-ray laser form of an EMP that knocks out all the communications and systems. And the reason that they've kept a lot of this classified is the world would get upset to know that a lot of these, quote, secret payloads, 80% of NASA's payloads, have been classified. We've got all these space planes constantly taking off and landing. And what they're doing is carrying all sorts of classified payloads in. So there's a couple big stories here. The United States had this decades and decades and decades ago. Many other countries have also launched similar systems. The communist Chinese, when it comes to space-based systems.
I'm fairly certain that there's more issues with NASA than like just with what they're purchasing and supplying and doing. Like I feel like it's like they're lying about fucking everything. Right? That's the issue. There is no fucking space outside the dome or the firmament, the toroidal fields, the magnetic fields. No one's going beyond that, liars. All the CGI editing and stuff like that, these fake fucking moon landings and like Mars and Jupiter and go to Venus. No. And the astronauts, like, come on, guys. Like, Alex, again, like, we need to talk. Tucker Carlson, we need to fucking talk.
It looks like we're even way ahead of the Russians. We're, quote, way ahead of them all. But why is this being brought out now? Because they want confrontation with Russia and to scare the American people and to say, oh, the Russians have got, secret nukes and secret lasers flying around in space above you, when the truth is it's the United States that launched the arms race in space. And that was to counter the old Soviet Union, I think was corrupt and evil, and it was a good thing we did. But now that secret space program has gone into high gear. So now they're bringing this out as a way to then relaunch officially the U.S. Strategic Defense Initiative as a counter to the Russians and unveil many of the weapons systems that have been in orbit for more than 50 years. Again, let's be clear. There are weapon systems put in space 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, last year, this year. Yeah. And the United States is way ahead when it comes to space-based weapons. That's why Trump officially launched Space Force, and the other branches of the military made fun of it. That was to divert the public from the fact that it's probably the most effective military system the United States happens. So as usual, you're getting tomorrow's news today as this debate unfolds, as this disclosure unfolds. In the days, months, and years to come, you can look back to this video and see that I told you nothing but the truth and was way ahead of the curve. But we do not want the system to use this as a pretext for escalation against Russia.
Except, Alex, there is no curve.
Russia is simply, even if you believe the official story, countering the West with similar systems to what the West has, because Russia has been catching up to the United States in many ways.
No, Russia's been playing with the United States also. Like Putin knows, and this is where like he knows that the Earth is flat. He knows the moon landings were fake. He's known this for decades. He knows this. Even when you look at his face and his reaction to like when like the government people within his own cabinet, when they showed him proof that the moon landings that the Americans showed were faked. He didn't look shocked, and I know he's very intelligent. He's a very wise, experienced person, and he's not supposed to react under pressure and stuff like that. But like it just really looked like, and this is I don't know, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But I also am someone that has like advanced interview interrogation techniques from really reputable organizations, and I've done conduct after capture. I've done ISAT. Like I'm really good at assessing body language.
In fact, surpassing us when it comes to supersonic missiles and other systems like that.
The final minute.
Oh my God, yeah.
Surviving warheads enter the atmosphere above the United States, are attacked by laser-equipped planes. Earth-based lasers and ABM rockets eliminate the last warheads.
I honestly, Alex Jones has so much good content that I still watch his stuff. It's stuff that a lot of the stuff again I know already and I shared already, but the fact that he knows it and shares it and gets such a wide audience, I fucking love that. And he's not afraid to to speak his mind, and he's unfiltered and stuff like that. I just wish that he would be more open-minded on this stuff.
Finally, you've gotten a brief history of these weapon systems. We've explained the fact that these are existing technologies that any advanced government or corporation could deploy. But finally, they're not just hyping all this up for war hysteria with Russia, just like we saw with Russiagate and Trump and all the rest of it.
But
the most important point of all these incredibly important points is this. The globalists have been hyping for 3 years that Russia is going to launch an EMP and knock out the power grid in America, or they're going to work with, quote, Trump supporters and knock out the power grid ahead of the 2024 election. Now, who really believes that? But now we're being told of this magic power up in the sky anytime that can do all these incredibly bad things. And it's all classified, so they can't tell us. Ladies and gentlemen, big things are already happening. Even bigger things are coming. And we have been predicting that they might pull something like this and false flag Russia. So we need to expose this right now. And all of you need to research the claims I've made in this video, find out it's true, send it to Congress, send it to the Senate, send it to your governors, send it to NASA, and send it to others. And let's get scientists and other experts to come out and explain that the road we're on is a road to something as bad as biblical Armageddon.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next.
I mean, not really. A lot of times, yes, but sometimes no.
Well, nitric oxide is a key. It's made by our own bodies again. It's made by L-citrulline and L-arginine, the amino acids. So we're fed. You can get it from beet powder and other things. The nitric oxide relaxes the endothelium, the vasculature. It relaxes the vein. It's a natural blood pressure. In fact, I use the two, your InfoWars, I keep that on my shelf, and I feed myself the Cardio Miracle, which is just for straight food. It's a different point.
Okay, so I'm gonna not promote friggin' stuff like that. And so I just wanted to go on the True North article that I tried to share before I was able to access it. Of course, it's me. CSIS admits to monitoring parental rights activists, compares them to neo-Nazis. So this was just posted yesterday by Cosmin D12. Canada's top intelligence agency admitted it is closely monitoring the activities of activists and groups associated with the parents' rights movement, particularly those opposing radical gender ideology. So they're saying that like people that are opposing radical gender ideology, they're saying that we're worse than neo-Nazis. And so like even with the word radical in it, like why wouldn't you be opposed to it? Anything that proceeds radical, right? Like, it seems pretty fucking extreme, right? And so what we're talking about is the blockers mutilating children before they have informed consent. They're not allowed to have tattoos, like boob cert, like cosmetic, like breast augmentation. Not allowed to drink, not allowed to drive, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of things that kids can't do. Yet we're telling them that they can remove their genitals and remove their reproductive organs and stuff like let me get this. It's insane. So like that's what we're saying. And when there's like hormone treatments that are given to children, this also makes it where they don't have the ability to properly develop their organs and their hormones and their brains, everything, and it causes huge issues, permanent, irreversible issues. And I've talked about this before. And so that's what we're against. And anyone that has a fucking soul, understands that we need to protect our children from people that are doing this, right? Like people are profiting off of this and they're exploiting people. And we're not fucking Nazis, assholes. Like, what the hell? Recent reports from CBC shed light on a document from the Integrated Terrorism Assessment Center, responsible for preventing terrorist activities in Canada. The report lumped together the freedom movement with extremist groups like neo-Nazis and QAnon. Oh, good. Anti-2SL QBTQIA plus XYZW, negative plus semicolon, parenthesis, paragraph. Narratives remain a common theme in violent rhetoric espoused by white nationalists, neo-Nazis, and even nationalists. Let's say like white nationalists. There's people I know of all skin colors that are nationalists in Canada. These fucking assholes, man. Like, I hope that CTV gets like so like not funded anymore, like in any aspect. Like they need to go. They need to be fired. This needs to be like, we need more informed agencies giving us any form of fucking news. Oh, look at this. Neo-Nazis, the freedom movement, and networks such as Diagolon and QAnon. So even Diagolon is being associated with QAnon. Diagolon. Oh my God. These people are fucking crazy. Despite the focus on monitoring such rhetoric, there was no mention in the report by CSIS regarding the violent. I see, and like Black Lives Matter's not on here. I noticed Antifa's not on here. I don't see that. I don't see anything in here. Yeah, about people pushing for creeps to go in women's bathrooms in here. Despite the focus on monitoring such rhetoric, there was no mention in the report by CSIS regarding the violence often faced by those protesting against gender ideology. So can we get like any example of violence faced by those protesting against? Yeah, instances of physical attacks and intimidation against parents' rights protesters have been documented, including an incident involving a child. Josh Alexander in Calgary was actually fucking attacked, and countless others. I think David Menzies repeatedly was attacked, even recorded by trans activists, is what they're calling themselves. They're actually like physically harming people that are there, that are doing their own peaceful protests. They're actually physically harming people repeatedly. And actually, there was even I even just shared this a few days ago or a few weeks ago, where a guy with the sign, that's what they call him, he was actually attacked by someone that identifies as trans, a man, that actually he was holding a sign protect the children or something. I don't know what it was, but this trans person punched him in the fucking face and then fled. And so where are people attacking trans people and identifying as other genders? Because even when men with full ass fucking beards, over 6 feet tall, when they went into women's bathrooms with children and stuff like that, and even jerking off, by the way, on the record, in bathrooms and stuff like that, and sharing it for some reason online, so again, you even have proof, and then putting the little skirt down when a child and her parent, her mother, went in the bathrooms, and then as soon as they went in the stall, lifted his fucking skirt back up and showed his fucking little dick again, touching it. So again, there's some people are perverted and mentally disordered, and they're exploiting systems in place, and they're seeing just how far they can push the limits. Okay, and no one attacked that person. We've been threatened, and I've shared this information as well. That guy that was telling other people to go up in arms, actually arm themselves and go in women's bathrooms, and threatening us. You're a fucking grown ass man. This guy was huge. He was 6'3" or something. He looked to be over 300 pounds, and so clearly could beat a lot women and children. Doesn't need a gun. Who are you? Who are? Oh my god! It just the insanity. I'm just going on all these fucking tangents. But not protecting the actual real fucking victims, and people getting exploited. Oh, we've lost the plot. I might leave it at this one.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
This is Press for Truth, Dan Dix. I really enjoy a lot of his work. Again, I don't believe in and think like everyone, in everything that he says, but there's some good content he absolutely brings, and I highly recommend people share, and subscribe on his stuff as well.
The growing human population. Because where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be?
So he's also lost the plot. And he looks evil. That's just my opinion. Overpopulation, that's a lie.
Be done about that?
Yes.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. The video that you just saw was a clip of this man here, Prince Philip. who was asked to explain himself on his position about overpopulation. And when the reporter asked, okay, how do you suppose we achieve this, go about solving the problem of overpopulation? And he responded with, can't you guess? Well, in case you guys didn't know, back when this man died in 2021, some older quotes of his resurfaced in regards to his position on overpopulation. And he once famously said this, guys: in the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute something to solving overpopulation. So needless to say, this man is a staunch eugenicist.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a
who
rocket.
believes in the absolute
was royalty.
myth of overpopulation. And that's what it is. It's a myth, folks.
Same thing, because they all operate in the same circles. And
there is
not who you think
plenty
they
of
are.
room on this planet.
And they're not special people, just to be clear. Like, oh, I have magic blood. I have important blood. No. It depends on what you consume in all aspects of your life. What you read, what you listen to, who you speak to, who you interact with, what you eat, what you drink, how you live your life.
Plenty of resources for plenty of more people on this planet. It's like God said, go forth and multiply. Well, this man would have you believe otherwise. And when you really think about it, guys, there's only two ways to reduce the global population like he would like to see happen. You either increase the death rate or you decrease the birth rate. And from what I can tell, according to my research, both those things are currently happening simultaneously. And one of the ways that they're figured out that they can achieve this is through the controlling of our food supply. It's just like Henry Kissinger once said, and is famously quoted here: who controls the food supply controls the people.
They control all of it.
Who controls
Right
the
now.
energy can control whole continents, and who controls money can control the world. But let's take it back to step one. You control the food supply and you control the people. This is exactly why becoming a fully independent individual who has a self-sustainable organic garden that is not reliant on the governments or the banks or the grocery stores is the number one enemy of the state right now.
And families.
Why do you think all the farmers over in Europe are revolting right now? As I covered in this video, let's grow. Farmers are uprising globally in the fight for food freedom. And another question, why do you think before there were baby
and families, and so why do you think that these people are targeting families and targeting people that are farmers or live more like moderate traditional lifestyles, more conservative in nature? It's because the more people there are, and there's been times throughout history where there's been more advanced, evolved civilizations, like I keep on fucking saying, that where there was like significantly more of a population. Some estimates are even 50 billion and more, and there is more land. And even within our own regions, within our own countries, like even within Canada, like 98% of our land right now is uninhabited. Okay, so like we can like work with this. It's because the more the populations increase and become more educated, better quality of life, etc., the more people are waking up and realizing what's happening with these groups. And if it's over a certain population, they realize that they unravel. More people communicate. More people do not agree with what's going on. And so when people figure it out, of course, they're not disgusting like these people. So the reaction is, oh my God, this is what's happening. Gross. Okay. Throw up a little bit, cry, you know what I mean? And then be like, I don't support this, And so like they need to have the population within a certain amount in order to keep the gig up. Right. And so this is also why we need to keep families to be encouraged, like the middle class, all of this stuff. Promote people to not be victims within their own lives, stop the division, the hatred, and all this other stuff, and actually have good conversations with each other where we're not coming at each other, like wanting to fucking kill each other, right? Like even me with how I interpret religion and the world, people want me dead because of that, and to me that's utter insanity, because I would never wish that on anyone else because of their ideologies or their religions or their beliefs and stuff like that. And so, and even for political parties, there are people that wish other people dead because of how they vote, which is insane, or their sports teams. And so look at your own life, right? And see that maybe some of the stuff that you're dealing with and that you've experienced, even the traumas, maybe maybe you had a lot more to do with it or others than you're acknowledging. And or even with like how you responded and reacted to traumatic events afterwards. It's up to you. And that's the reality of it. Anyway.
Formula shortages. Bill Gates was backing lab-grown breast milk, folks. And in case you didn't know, Bill Gates also just happens to be the largest private owner of farmland in the United States. There's a good reason for that too, ladies and gentlemen. And Bill Gates was a staunch eugenicist as well, just like this man here. And just like Henry Kissinger, he understood about controlling the food means you can control the people. So as you guys may recall, I reported on this last month. Massive amounts of tiny plastics have been found in bottled drinking water.
And
according to a new study that just came out last month,
in the air.
It discovered that bottled water contains up to 100 times more plastic than they had previously estimated. And then I reported on the startling new report that found hormone warping chemicals in 99% of food sold in American stores, which may raise the risk of cancer, autism, and infertility. And of course, I reported on microplastics were being found in 90% of meat and plant-based alternatives. There's simply just no escaping them. I put out this video last month, guys. Nanoplastics found in 99% of our food and water. But the governments are targeting off-grid communities. Check the link in the description below if you haven't seen that video, guys. But again, that speaks volumes to, you know, the fact that they are going after people who are,
they're going after people that are off-grid, and you know why, like I've said.
Who are doing this as a way of, you know, dealing with all the toxic chemicals that are being pushed on us, the poisons that are being pushed on us. And now, guys, we're seeing this new study.
So even with what I just shared, I only put it up briefly because like I'm on YouTube and X, and again, it's probably going to not make it that far anyways, just because of what I've been sharing. But yes, the like jabs as well, even within inserts within like childhood therapeutics, actually it says that like they're like it causes SIDS and countless other bad things, you know what I mean? That being the worst, obviously, but like countless other like even with like the links to measles and autism and all of these different things are correlated to the therapeutics. It's in the inserts, and it's reported. The companies report it themselves. So for the people that are going after people that are admitting this or showing the proof, why are you so crazy? Why are you so fucking crazy?
Which finds a little known toxic crop chemical has just been found in 4 out of 5 people tested, guys. That
and aluminum and mercury and heavy metals also within these therapeutics. Like this is not good. These are neurotoxins. These cause significant irreversible damage in a lot more fucking people than you believe or know. And look how many, just look at SIDS within Canada and the US alone. Just look at the annual numbers. Look at it.
Means 80% of Americans
and look
have
at
just
the increase and when it increased.
Tested positive for a chemical that's been found in Cheerios and Quaker Oats that may cause infertility and delayed puberty. Here is the study, ladies and gentlemen, a pilot study of chloromquat in food and urine from adults in the United States from 2017 to 2023 has shown that exposure to this stuff can reduce fertility and harm the developing fetus at doses lower than those used by regulatory agencies to set allowable daily intake levels. So in other words, they are pumping us full of poisons right now that are reducing our ability to produce more humans on this planet. And it's not just localized to the West, guys. Potential carcinogens have just been found in almost 90% of instant noodles tested by Hong Kong's consumer watchdog. These are potentially cancer-causing substances that were found in 17 out of 19 samples, guys. So if you are eating any of this crap, it's time to stop that as well. We're going to cover all of this, guys, and much, much more in this video. But really quickly, guys, before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. If you appreciate my efforts to bring you this
Yeah,
info,
I'm gonna leave
here
that
you can do a one-time donation with
I hope you
PayPal
donate
by
to him.
clicking there. You can
He has big
sign up for a
taxes.
monthly reoccurring contribution by clicking there. You can also do that here at Subscribestar. You can send Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You can send an e-transfer to Dan at pressfortruth.ca, or you can send stuff to my P.O. box, guys. Links for everything are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who does take 1 minute today to support me financially at pressfortruth.ca/donate. All right, guys, let's jump right into this. This is crazy. 80% of Americans have now just tested positive for this new chemical, not new, but it's been increasing over the last 5 years in things like Cheerios and Quaker Oats that could be causing infertility and delayed
juices,
puberty.
drinks.
4 out of 5 Americans are being exposed to a little-known chemical found in
Soda.
popular oat-based foods, including Cheerios and Quaker Oats, that is linked to reduced fertility, altered fetal growth, and delayed puberty. I mean, again, let's take it back to the dreams and aspirations of the overpopulation guy, Prince Philip, who said he wants to come back as a virus and kill people. Well, again, how can we reduce the global population if not killing people? Well, it's reducing the global birth rate. And I think, reduced fertility, altered fetal growth, and delayed puberty are all things that are going to majorly contribute to a massive decline in childbirths. So again, this appears to be, the eugenicist dream being carried out. Now, whether or not a lot of this is being done maliciously, or
I would argue, and I would say like a psychopath, like the people that were calling evil and demons and satanic and all of this other stuff, communist, leftist, extremist. They're psychopaths or sociopaths. Like there's if you look at the DSM-5, like the new current psychological manual, these are mental disorders. Like these are people with mental disorders, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Not angels, not fucking demons, not Satan, not Lucifer, not devil, not God, not Jesus, no.
A lot of this is being done just from, company oversight because they want to just see the best of their bottom line can be argued. But I mean, the bottom line is this is obviously bad for people, and it's leading to a reduction in babies being born, not to mention an increase in people dying. The Environment Working Group published a study in the Journal of Exposure of Science and Environmental Epidemiology on Thursday that found a staggering 80% of Americans tested positive for a harmful pesticide called chlormequat. The highly toxic agricultural chemical is federally allowed to be used on oats and other grains imported to the U.S. According to the EWG, when applied to oat and grain crops, chlormequat alters a plant's growth, preventing it from bending over, thus making it easier to harvest. Just as troubling, we detected the chemical in 92% of oat-based foods purchased in May of 2023, including Quaker Oats and Cheerios, the nonprofit said. So the companies, General Mills, which makes Cheerios, and PepsiCo, which makes Quaker Oats, both did not respond to requests for comment. Now, here's the thing. According to the data points, this stuff collected 96 people between 2017 and 2023 shows a massive rise. It found higher levels and more frequent detections in the 2023 samples, which would suggest that consumer exposure to this stuff is on the rise, despite the fact that they know that it's leading to fertility issues. For reference, chlormequat was detected 69% in participants in 2017. Then in 2018, 74%, and then it spiked to 90% in 2023. And since it leaves the body typically within 24 hours, finding such a high concentration of this stuff in positive levels indicates that Americans are regularly being exposed to this pesticide. Or in other words, they are regularly being poisoned by this stuff in a, slow, soft kill method, which again, is the kind of stuff that this guy dreamed of. He openly talked about trying to kill people or reducing the
They all
global
have. Bill
population.
Gates
And
included.
now we're starting to see the vision of also guys like Henry Kissinger,
Yep.
who openly discussed how you can control people
And
simply.
you know, it's a shame that he died before like his fucking name came out to show what he truly was and is as a human being. And like not even just the Epstein list. Okay, like countless stories and accounts of him all over the fucking world and what he's done to children and humanity and organizations that he's funded and why he's funded them and the agenda that he wanted to fucking push. Not a good person. There are psychopaths and sociopaths. They're not antichrists. They're not demons. They're not. They're fucking psychopaths and sociopaths, entitled people that were groomed, unfortunately, and you know, they their whole lives led them, and with the lack of accountability with their actions, allowed them to get to the state that they got to, and society. These people allowing these people to do this, they need help. They need to be removed from making fucking decisions for humanity. They're clearly criminals. They're sick and unhealthy people now. Like, I'm not just saying this. I'm like, it's a reality. There's a lot of you know, misconceptions, to say it lightly, about the reality of the world. Misconceptions even about the hierarchy of the reality of the world. You know,
by controlling the food supply. Well, again, I would remind you, why do you think Bill Gates is scooping up all the farmland at the same time that, you know, all these farmers are, you know, fighting against these you know, environmental measures that are being pushed down on them? Because there is a war on food right now. And like I said, becoming fully independent, self-sustainable with a self-sustainable organic garden is the number one thing you can do right now to push back against the system and to protect yourself. This is like the number one, you know, asset moving forward. Forget about gold and silver and crypto. You know, having a fully functional, secured, organic heirloom seed food source is going to be the biggest asset we can have moving forward, guys, especially when we see that they're not slowing down on this eugenics agenda, as this new study just discovered. These puberty blockers essentially are being found in breakfast cereals. So just thought I'd bring all this to your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to, if you haven't seen this one from last month, nanoplastics being found in our food. Check that out. And the fact that they're trying to clamp down on off-grid communities, again, should really speak volumes about what we're truly up against here. So just wanted to bring all of this to your attention. Be wary of what you're putting in your body, and try to, you know, do your best to work towards having an eventual secured, self-sustainable food source. I think, as I said, that's going to be the biggest thing, the biggest asset you're going to have.
and that's why there's an attack on people's guns
into this post-COVID 1984.
Because then that's a way also where they can hunt and get food that way. Poisoning water systems, you know, like mix it with like fish, like are either not healthy or they're dead, not able to survive, or they can do that with droughts and stuff like that in areas as well to impact our food supply. Like even with like weather modification that with temperature drops that happen like during growing seasons, I don't think that's by mistake either. Like we've been doing this for generations, and so it's convenient that when you look at the Farmer's Almanac as to like, and then the new moon and the full moon as to like when to plant seeds. It's funny how within like days of that or a week, you know, that there's all of a sudden like a weird storm that happens, like a snow, like, you know, like never happened before in fucking history before weather modification bullshit started coming, and then kills the seeds, and then you have to like fucking start. Okay, it's a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort. A week later, or 2 weeks later, and then you're late in the season, and it's because of fucking soy boys like Justin Trudeau that are approving all of this stuff happening. and their friends and stuff like that, like with the insurance companies being involved, with like air, like with the air aviation aerospace like involved.
Nightmarish world that we're all dealing with. It's these eugenicists like Prince Philip are trying to do everything they can to essentially kill us. But you know, if we make all the right moves, we can stay 2 steps ahead. And so just wanted to bring that to your attention, guys. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to do so, don't forget to check me out here, pressfortruth.ca/donate. There's a link located at the top of the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who does contribute. Again, I can't do this work without you. And that's all for today, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to click.
Oh, I thought there was going to be more on that. Actually, let me see here. No, I will leave it at that because I've been running on for a very long time. So yeah, I will leave it at that. It's Friday. Let's say Friday. So I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.